governing the Salah. Two major reasons or two major rules and regulations to be observed in performing the Salah is one, the recitation of the Fatiha. How should one recite the Fatiha? How does the Prophet recite the Fatiha in Salah? Your recitation of the Fatiha is very, very much important. That is even why you see the containment of the chapter where the verses that say فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ are contained in the what? Chapter that is termed Suratul Ma'un. And Suratul Ma'un happened to be the chapter 107. 107. And it has in its content altogether 7 verses. Suratul Ma'un is made in 7 verses. And of course, if you also compare that to the verses in Fatiha, the verses of Suratul Fatiha are also 7. So in a nutshell, it is saying the story is all about reciting the Fatiha recklessly. If you don't observe the due orderliness of reciting the Fatiha, then فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ is what will be the reward for such a prayer. So it is mostly, concentrating on Fatiha recitation. And that is even why you have the chapter being 107, in the sense that you still see that the containment of 107 are 1 at first, then you have 7 at the last, then you have at the center 0. By the 1, it is referential to the chapter which is chapter 1. Which chapter is chapter 1? It is Fatiha. And then by the 7, you also see that the containment of the Surah Al-Fatiha is 7 verses. Now with the central 0, it means remaining mute. That is, you keep short. You remain silent after reciting each verse from verse 1 to verse 7 of the Fatiha. Each verse that you read, then the 0 at the center simply means then you keep mute. You don't say anything. For there is going to be a response made by Allah as you read each of the verses. That has been the teaching of Muhammad Rasulullah. He said, when you say, for example, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, there is going to be an utterance made by Allah. There is going to be an utterance to be made by Allah. Now, so you read each of the verses. By the time you say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Rasul said, Allah will say, oh, my servant has praised me. Of course, he has a response to make. That is Allah. And then by the time you go to Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, then you remain silent. Then Allah will also have something to say there. Rasul had stated it. Maliki Yawmiddin, you remain silent. And then Allah will have something to say there. So in a nutshell, when you are performing or when you are reading the Fatiha, maintaining the silence at each of the at the end of each verse, then you are giving Allah the room to make the statement he always make, right? Then you are simply conversing with Allah. You are now involved in a conversation with Allah. When you say, then you remain silent, then he says. When you say, you remain silent, then he says. As such, you read the Fatiha. Each one you read, each verse you read, you remain silent at the end of it, then there is going to be something that will be said by Allah. So you are now involved in conversation with Allah. And that is why Allah now termed you now as the awliya Allahi, those who are conversing with Allah. In what? In Salah. O Allah, lead us to all the true Islamic principles and concepts. So don't ever be reckless in reciting the Fatiha. Now, recitation of the Fatiha is practically, right, this major reason for the verse for Waidun lil Musallin. Now, the second issue is the focusing on what? The true Qibla. If you have to stand in Salah, where you are expected to face is the direction of the Qibla, the direction that gets you to the Qibla. And the Qibla is simply the central figure that is in Masjid al-Haram, the central figure at the Masjid al-Haram. And the central figure is nothing but the Kaaba. Do not say the Kaaba is far from you based on your position on the surface of the earth. For example, if you happen to be a Nigerian and Kaaba is sited at where? At Mecca. Now you say you can just decide to face, you just guess and then you want to face some. No, there is no issue of guessing in Islam. You have to be exact. That is why Allah had already blocked all the chances of you having an excuse. For he had stated that فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. If you have to do anything, right,